Time for best bets for Game 6 of the NBA Finals. Sean Little, we're going to go around the horn. What are your bets for Game 6?
Isaiah Hartenstein under 5.5 points, minus 120 I see in the market. And I'm going to take Pascal Siakam over 20.5 points, minus 110.
All right, Bryan Fonseca, what do you want?
Also on Siakam over 20.5 points. Also going to take Tyrese Haliburton under 7.5 assists and Thunder money line, which I got at minus 195.
Consensus has just moved to 6.5 in the market while we're recording live.
Jesus.
We've moved a point and
5.5 or 5 when I played it. 5.5.
We've moved a 1.5 off of the Haliburton news. That seems excessive to me because we knew that, like, did you think? Like, we knew two things before this show. He has a calf injury, probably like in the muscle, and he was going to play in Game 6 because Carlisle said he's going to play in Game 6, and there's like no way he's not going to play.
Yeah, and he mentioned that in the postgame. I think that's really interesting point that I want to touch on really quick because you see this all the time in sports betting. They could show a video of Tyrese Haliburton's ankle hanging off his foot, and some people still will not act on that number that's on the board, and it will not move. It'll be like a halfway move until it's officially announced. There's been so many times where if you just have a little bit of gamble and try to get out in front of injury reports, you know deep down we knew he was dealing with a calf, just like Matt Moore said. We knew he wouldn't be 100%. You would think. So I think sometimes it's worth a gamble to go out and take the 5 instead of losing a 1.5 waiting on Shams to confirm that if you wanted to bet and were thinking about betting Oklahoma City in this spot. So sometimes you just got to get out in front before the official report comes out because you have your own eyes and you can divulge your own opinion on what he's going to be dealing with before it gets confirmed and the number moves. But the number will always be in between until it gets officially reported. But we knew the deal.
There's a 7
in the market.
Yep. Yeah, there's a 7 at a very, very, very prominent book.
Okay, if this gets 8, if this gets 8, I'm middling.
You're gonna have to take Pacers, right?
I'm gonna middle at 8. That's maybe won't touch it, but God, it's moving. We've already got 2 points of movement off of a report that I was expecting today, which is like he's got a calf strain. He'll undergo an MRI. He's expected to play.
Matt, why middle at 8 though? If you lock in a phenomenal number at 5, you still have the opportunity to potentially watch it live. But you still get a look. You'll still be able to get a look at how Haliburton looks live, and then you can decide there. Why jam yourself and box yourself in when you got the damn near the best number that was ever available on the market? You know what I mean? That's my opinion on that.
I get it, but for me, it's just like, look, if the market provides an opportunity that if I don't think the number is right, then that bet has value. I don't have to bet it, to your point, right? Like, I can think that that's not the good number, but I think that this line moving, if this line moves 3 points off of a player I still expect to play when I've already gotten the positions that I did, then I'm going to come back in on Indy. Like, that to me is at least as a bet worth making, at least to add to my position, because I've got this thing 700 different ways. And maybe the better angle is just props, right? I don't think it's necessarily Haliburton, but it's probably just, I don't know. Let's talk about Pascal Siakam since you both like him, because that's a good angle to kind of approach it as if you want to go the other way. All right, let's start with Bryan. Why do you want Siakam over 20.5?
So he's the guy that consistently gets shots up, and he's the guy that consistently gets points up in the series for Indiana. Like, he's gone over in most of these games and in 3 straight because he was at 19.5 when he got to 20 a couple games ago. So field goal attempts, 14 plus every single game, except for one where he had 11. That game he had 15. That was the miserable game 2 performance, not for him specifically, but for the entire team, where OKC got their lick back after game 1, where they just blew it in the end. And that was sort of a one-off type of deal. But if you look at Siakam, 14 attempts from the field every single game, at least 15 and 3 of them, actually. His last 2, 15 and 15, and in game 1 also at 15. He's putting up more threes as the season progressed. So he put up 8 threes total across the first 3 games in this series, and has had 12 in just the last 2, 6 and 6. And he's making those 2 and 3. So, 5 for 12, which is a pretty good 3-point percentage, all things considered. And then he's getting to the free throw line too, because he has been aggressive. Like, the attack is just a variety of different things. It's drives, it's transition, it's spotting up and shooting threes, it's taking advantage if the mid-range is there. But he's getting into the paint consistently against OKC when people don't do that. He's at 6 free throw attempts at least in every game this series, 8 in each of the last 2. And I think with Siakam, with Haliburton limited, we're anticipating he's going to be limited, then Siakam has to go over. Like, he has to, otherwise Indy has no shot. And you can fight back and say, hey, the Thunder could just win by 30, so no, he doesn't have to necessarily. But I think you know what I mean by that. Like, Siakam's going to have to take a ton of the workload offensively, and he probably was going to regardless, whether or not Tyrese Haliburton was 100% or not. So,
okay, Sean, anything to add on to that one for why you want Siakam?
Yeah, I want to retweet a lot of what Fonseca said, but I'm not going to overthink this. This is the guy offensively that has the best matchup for the Pacers, especially in the half court, and he's their ace in transition. So if you've been watching the series, like I know everybody listening has been, who's the guy that could get a bucket in his matchup on any possession most consistently? It's Pascal Siakam.
Yep.
We just saw it in the previous game when Haliburton was completely shut off. The guy had no field goals. He was a complete zero dealing with the calf in the last game, and the guy that's going to go at people outside of our boy TJ McConnell is Pascal Siakam. He's the guy that can get it on the nail. He can get it on the block. He can go to work. He can do his thing. He's a guy purely on a matchup perspective that can rise up and pull up and shoot a jumper over some of these guys. He has shown over and over in this series that he'll take advantage of mismatches and go to the cup and be physical. I just trust Pascal to get shots up, as Fonseca mentioned, and he's had success doing so. So I'm not going to overthink it. If Tyrese Haliburton is hampered in any way, and I believe that he is, Pascal Siakam is going to get plenty of looks. I think this is a really good spot, potentially to get a lot of looks at the line, I'll say, going back home and being physical. I really like this spot for Pascal. With Haliburton on the floor, I like it. Without Haliburton on the floor, I like it. I think he gets a lot of volume, a lot of looks, and he's just their most efficient matchup, I believe, in the series in its entirety.
It's moving to 21.5, but there's a 20.5 still in the market. So, and that's the number that we got.
Haliburton's assists are still at 7.5.
They probably think, what else is he going to do?
How do you move this line 2 points and his assist total has moved 8 cents? Never mind. I said that, and it dropped 12, it dropped 12 cents in the books I'm looking at. I'll still give this one out. If you catch this number at 6.5, you can still bet it. It's less than a unit. A unit is probably worth it at 7.5. That's a best bet for me. Look, Haliburton in this series is not able to create assists generally. He's had a couple of games of his usual like double-digit performance, but he is the biggest thing for me is just like, look, they figured out how to switch against him. They figured out the importance of staying home. They're not over helping. The Thunder are getting better at defending Tyrese Haliburton. You're out of adjustments. There's not a lot else you can do. He's got a bad calf. You want to know what the best way to counter, like the way that they're guarding him, is to have burst to beat that initial defender and then force help. He's not going to be able to do that with a bad calf. So, like, you're talking about either him being a secondary playmaker standing alone on the wing unguarded. Does that sound like what's going to happen? Like, are they going to not guard Tyrese? No, they're going to be there. Or you're talking about him trying to create in transition as an assist creator when he can't run. Under 7.5 assists has to be a play. Like, until they move this to 6.5, this has to be a play, even at the minus 152 I'm seeing in the market. Go get the best number, but 7.5 is absolutely a play. If you're listening to us on the podcast, if it's 6.5, it's less than a unit because you've lost all the value. But we bet it last night 7.5. When we were live on buckets. Sean, let's go back to you. Let's talk Hartenstein under 5.5 points.
Yeah, I love this spot for Isaiah Hartenstein. If you've been watching this series, the guy refuses to look at the rim. He's not interested in looking at the basket whatsoever. He's been looking to screen for guys. He's been looking to play defense. He's been looking to rebound. He's been looking to create off screen. He's been looking to get the ball in the paint to find other guys that are open. He absolutely has not glanced at the rim whatsoever. If you go back to game 1, he's gone under this total in the last 4 games. If you go back to game 1, he scored 9 points. What do we know about game 1? He didn't start. That was the wrinkle that Dagnall went with. Cason Wallace gets the start. He was 3 of 5 from the floor. All 3 buckets are against Thomas Bryant. You can go back and watch him at NBA.com. He was killing Thomas Bryant.
That's true.
What's the change? Isaiah Hartenstein's back in the starting lineup. He's not going to see as much of Thomas Bryant anymore. Those opportunities are not going to be there. If he scored in the game last night, he scores the opening bucket on a punch. He scores 2 points after that. And every other bucket, if you look throughout the game by game, you can go through and watch every shot attempt from Isaiah Hartenstein. They've been a lot of ball bouncing around, it falls in his lap, and he lays it back up, or a putback. If we can avoid 3 of those, the Isaiah Hartenstein that I remember with the Knicks and earlier this season took a lot more floaters. In this matchup, he hasn't done that. He is not looking at the rim to score whatsoever. If we can avoid a couple putbacks that are a little fluky, I really like this spot for Isaiah Hartenstein. He's not looking to score. He's not looking to attempt from the floor. He's not going to see a lot of Thomas Bryant.
I still kind of like points, rebounds, assists on the over. Just take the combined number, and it gets you all the way there. I don't mind playing, honestly, both of these, and we'll talk about another one I'm interested in here in a second. That's kind of a combo of this. I agree with you on the floaters. I agree with you on the Thomas Bryant. I agree with you on the cap on the points. The only issue is just like you're at this low number. You are at risk of random buckets, 2 free throws, a bucket, and then another random bucket, and you're there, right? So it's tight, but I don't mind playing just the points. I do like his rebounds and assist opportunities though, because I do think he's going to continue to play. I think they figured out the rotation that they need, and it does include Hartenstein.
Yeah. No doubt. I mean, he had 7 assists last 2 games. He's been. We talked about this. I want to say we've the bucket squad has been way ahead of the curve on how important he is on offense. Picking, screening, creating, passing off of said screen. He has been very good at that part of his game for a couple years now, and people don't respect it or don't realize, but he helps on offense quite a bit. So. Yeah. So he's so good on offense. I'm taking the under on points.
That's good. Yeah, exactly. No, I like it. The plus 7s got hit, Brian. That's gone. It's off the board. They're coming back in on Indy. That now we're seeing plus 6.5 juiced. I'm telling you, to me, it looks like you have at least 2 sides, if not 2 groups that are fighting over this.
They're fighting over this.
Again, if you want to be like, well, isn't this just the pub? No, the public's not going to move it. The public can hammer OKC all they want, and they're not going to give the Sharps a plus 7.5 to hit on Indy. Yep. They are fighting over this number 6.5, 7 now. And we'll see if they want it back at 6 or not.
I didn't think it was going to get to 8 for what it's worth. Like that
man can dream.
That would have started. But I mean, look, we've talked consistently about late money OKC being a thing. So we're still 48 plus hours away from tip off, and there probably will be some sort of update on Haliburton before then.
So yeah, we'll get one from Shams pregame. We'll get one from Shams tomorrow on Inside the NBA. Or no, was it?
Countdown.
Not count. Well, but
Sports Center.
The afternoon show with Malika. I'm blanking on the name of it. But
formerly the Jump. What's it called now?
I forget. That's the point.
Damn,
that's how rarely I watch it.
I know this too.
But Countdown, they'll hit it again, and it'll be either he's expected to play or he'll be a game time. Just like I would doubt on it being helpful. The money line's interesting too here, guys. So this was 200 when we started this show, and I was ready to give out Thunder time minus 200. It jumped to 270. We're back to 250. There's a 240 in the market. Like
NBA today. That's the
NBA
name of the
Today.
show.
Thank you. And so there's a 260 in the market on OKC. So this is annoying. There's a minus 260 plus 210. Your best price on Indy right now is 235. There's a 235 in the market on money line. This is the one where if you want to bet Indy to win this game, wait, because the odds are that Thunder gets hit sometime in the next 2 days as more updates come out on Hallie. They get hit pregame. I do not think this is the best number you're going to get Indy at. If you want OKC, I think you maybe got a day. I think you would, like, we're recording this on Tuesday. If you're listening to this on Wednesday, go check the number and see if the Sharps have come back in and hit Pacers money line. And if this gets back down to 220, I'd probably bet OKC, but I don't think we're going to see that number again. I think we're going to be stuck at between 230 and 260 for at least the next day or so. Sound right, Brian?
Yeah.
And we can't give out. Are you with? I don't want to give out Thunder money line as a best bet after the move.
Yeah, because I took it before minus 195
Yeah.
was long gone at this point. So basically, but my thinking was if it got better than minus 200, I was like, okay, fine. Here's my spot to hedge some of the Pacers stuff that I'm on.
Yeah, there's a minus one. There's a minus 190 for about 10 minutes last night.
Yeah, and actually today, even before the update on Tyrese Haliburton, but can't really give it out anymore. There is a comment I think is worth getting to, but we're probably saving for open run after, or no? Should we?
Hit me.
The Mathurin one. Nicholas there. I think this is worth talking about.
Zambacco says, how do people feel about Mathurin?
I think this is worth talking about because if we're worried about Indiana being able to score and we're worried about Tyrese Haliburton just overall from a health standpoint, and Rick Carlisle keeps putting Ben Mathurin out there, it's like his points prop, I'm seeing it at 9.5 and 10.5, 10.5 plus money, obviously. So it's basically like, can you see Ben Mathurin just getting 10 points? And is he going to be in a spot where Carlisle's like, I need someone who can create a shot. So Ben Mathurin plays 20-something minutes. I kind of don't mind the play. And I might like the play, as a matter of fact. But
they don't have anybody else. They got nobody else that can create off dribble. I don't think you can't ask Ben Shepherd to do it. You just can't do that. They got nobody else. It's Nembhard. It's McConnell. It's Mathurin.
Nick, I might be with you. Or Nico, I guess. Might be.
Sean, what are your thoughts on, you have any thoughts on Mathurin, Sean?
Yeah, I looked at the number. I was interested to see what it was. I would say Mathurin is maybe their third best scorer on the team.
Yeah,
I could argue.
Yeah,
in a lot of different ways. So, I really the Haliburton thing really changes so much. Of course, I mean, he's been a different dude at home in the field house. He's played really well, but there's going to be. Is there going to be a time where, all right, he's not healthy enough to play, so we're going to sit him and give TJ those minutes or give Mathurin more minutes? There's big question marks here. So I wouldn't be on a Mathurin under. That's what I would say. I haven't printed the ticket on an over, but if I'm printing anything, it would be Mathurin over, just because he is a bucket. I think part of the reason that it's so ebb and flow with him is because the consistency hasn't been there throughout the series, like rotationally wise. So naturally that creates spots where players press. You know who you see this with a lot? Kuminga. It's like, oh shit, I'm playing? What do I do? You know what I'm saying? Or he acts frantic on the floor, and you see that type of behavior. I think that similarly that can happen here with Mathurin in a couple different spots this series. But offensively, I believe in his game. I think he could play. If you want to go way back in the buckets folder, I took Mathurin to win Sixth Man of the Year a couple years ago. Yeah. Before that, the season he came in and got hurt. So I believe in Mathurin. I like his game. Offensively, he can play, but it is helter-skelter. I would look over or nothing.
Here's the other thing I want to add, too, because it feels like we should be talking about Nembhard then. But Mathurin has a level of physicality and just on-the-ball juice against
He gets to the line, too.
He gets to the line. And Nemhard's also at 10.5 at 9.5. There's a 9.5 out there for Nemhard, but as much as I love Andrew Nemhard, OKC has a lot of guys that could throw on him that they can't quite throw on Mathurin, who's a little bit bigger and stronger. Matt, you wanted to jump in, it looks like.
Yeah, I got something here.
Oh boy.
His field goal attempted line is 7.5, and he's averaging 7.4 with Hallie at full usage.
Mathurin's at
7.5, and he's averaging 7.4 with Hallie at full usage. His free throw number is 4.5, with him averaging 4.4 at full Hallie usage. So, like, don't go in on the points because OKC may blank him, but he's going to keep shooting. Then he's not going down without a fight.
I think I'm taking the points still.
Okay.
I take both. I like both. I mean,
Okay.
What are the options? Again, this is why we like Siakam, though, because he's bigger and stronger than a lot of the guys on the Pacers in terms of creating his own shot. This is why in this spot, as much as I love Nemhard, this hasn't really been the series for Nemhard offensively.
Yep.
Mathurin's been inefficient, but like he's big, he's physical, he'll get downhill and he can get his shot off, even though he might go 2 for 11. But he'll try his hardest.
I want to talk about this one just as a fun one, then we'll do our ballsy parlay. Holmgren's gone under on points and assists in 4 of the 5 games, 4 straight. Holmgren's gone over on rebounds and assists in the last 3 straight since Hartenstein started playing more, because he rebounds at a higher rate with Isaiah on the floor. Those are cross-correlated, obviously. It's inverse correlation. I like the Thunder team total over at this reduced figure. If you do Holmgren under 16.5 points and assists, Holmgren over 10.5 assists and rebounds, and over 114.5 for OKC, it's plus 750. They score. Chet doesn't score. Chet does all the other stuff. That gets you there. I like it. I might play it. I'm not saying I'm going to. It's not best bet.
Can I throw one more at you because we're getting in the comments? TJ McConnell, who we should mention. McConnell's been so great in the playoffs, just Fred says, and JS says, I trust McConnell more, but Mathurin isn't the bad option. So this is interesting. One book, these are both like books, like prominent books that you guys probably use. TJ McConnell's PRA is all over the place. On one of the more prominent books, it's 18.5. On another one, it's 16.5. And then there's another one where it's 17.5 in the middle. And I feel like that 16.5, these are all like even money, by the way, which is crazy. But maybe one book just hasn't quite adjusted to the Haliburton news, or they feel like they don't want to, or maybe they don't think it impacts it. I don't know. But there's a 16.5 for PRA for McConnell out there right now. And Hayden Burnett in the comments is saying 25 plus PRA is plus 825. If you want to like really go in on McConnell, like, do we think, and this could be independent if Tyrese Haliburton is, healthy, whatever, but do we think this is a McConnell spot potentially, even more so than Mathurin, who we just talked about?
I do not. Like, I'll let you guys, I'll let Sean give his thoughts. TJ's amazing. TJ's awesome. TJ does all these things that you love, but they're all chaotic, random, miscellaneous plays. If this is a half-court affair, this is still a nightmare for him. His ability to succeed in this matchup has been based off of like breakdowns by OKC, chaotic sequences, random runs, and like I hear Sean, like I see Sean kind of tilting his head. I'm just telling you, like the half-court stuff for him isn't good from a matchup perspective. He's really good at making an impact anyway, and that's what your 6-man should do. But especially because, and this is a number I do want to throw out here because I think it's a big way for me to bet this series or this game. Okay, the Pacers offense is 8 points worse without Haliburton. That makes sense, right? Like they can't score without Tyrese on the floor. Their defense is 4 points better with Hallie on the court than off. Their defense gets worse when Haliburton's not on the floor because it creates more chaotic kind of situations. So OKC is able to score. And the more OKC scores, the more they get to set their defense. And McConnell gets to go into those, has to go into those set half court sets defensively for OKC. Sean, give me the belief and love in TJ McConnell.
The Great White Hope plus 825, 25 plus PRA, all points. No, I think look, I mean, Matt's right. And earlier in the playoffs, I faded TJ McConnell on points. I think it was 8.5 at some point in the conference finals, purely off of this can't continue to happen. What he's doing off the dribble, going to the basket, finishing on through contact, reverse layups. I will say in the third quarter in Game 5, some of that stuff in the third quarter was in the half court. He was getting to the paint and rising and pulling up on guys. He went baseline on AC and essentially bodied him and laid it up without a contest from Caruso. Alex Caruso contests everything. So he was having his way in the third quarter.
He was caught off guard.
But mostly what Matt is saying is correct. I'm not trusting. We're not clearing out in the half court with TJ McConnell at the top of the key and feeling very confident about what he's going to be able to do. So, yeah, just Fred, he was out of his mind in the third. He's right. That's exactly what I saw as well. But I'm not itching to play McConnell in a multitude of ways in this spot. I will say there was a time in the Game 5 down the stretch where I was like, I think TJ should be getting some of these Haliburton minutes down the stretch. Just from how he played in the third, Haliburton was hampered, and he didn't really get those minutes to close. But could he play a bunch of minutes in this game? Maybe. It all depends on what Haliburton does. But I think the 16.5, if you can find that, and you're seeing 18.5 PRA in the market, and you want to get behind TJ, find the best number, and I think you'll be scratching and you'll be right in the realm of 16.5 PRA, I think, with TJ McConnell.
As we've been talking about it, his points assists, it was 13.5 when we started at that book that I mentioned.
Yeah.
And now it's 15.5. They took it down.
A little bucket.
And they just brought it back. And it moved 2 points. I don't know if y'all are watching this, but that should move 2 points assists. 2 points assists. The PRA might have moved too. So I think they're on to you guys in the chat.
Sean, I want to ask you, because you're the most confident here in OKC. Is the better play an OKC alt or laying the juice on the money line? What I'm asking you is, I'm so confident in the Thunder, I think they smash here, or look, they might not cover, but they're winning this fucking game.
I would play an alt before I laid 230 or 235 for sure. I do have, as much as I love the Thunder, I do have respect for the Pacers and what they've been doing. They didn't have their best player at 100%. He had no field goals. It was a 3-point game.
Yep.
In the second half.
They had that moment.
Like, they really had a stretch where
we were all like, are they going to fucking do this again?
Yes, everybody across America said that. And the Oklahoma City Thunder didn't blink. They haven't blinked in many spots throughout this playoff run. And a lot of that was because Jalen Williams was uber fucking aggressive. He finishes so well with his left hand, you would think he was left-handed. He almost searches out left-hand layups, and he's a right-handed, strong, dominant shooter when he's shooting jump shots. So he was just relentless in a lot of spots. But, yeah, I would play – I think minus 230 is way too expensive to lay on the money line in this game, because it's going to be a grind with Haliburton in there or not. But I would only bet the Thunder here because that's where I'm at on the series. I think it was 6 or less. And I don't have how about this? Overall, I don't have a ticket. I woke up this morning and saw a 5 and knew about Haliburton. And I typically get out in front of injury reports, and I didn't print a slip on the Thunder minus 5. That's the answer to your question. So I would play alts before I played the money line at minus 200 or above.
The funniest outcome here is going to be that the Pacers win this game with Haliburton not even able to play. and then the Thunder wax them in Game 7. So I don't get home on Pacers to come from behind 20-1. I don't get home on Pacers in 6 plus 390. I don't get the Thunder in 6 play that I gave out on the favorites that I have to hedge painfully with the Thunder is like 10.5-point favorites, 11, 12-point favorites at home in Game 7 and just have to eat it. That's going to be a fun one. I will, by the way, mention this though. If past the second round, when a team has been up 3-2 and closed, there's been 5 times, 5-1. The ATS margin is 12.7. The average margin of victory is 17 points. So conference finals or finals, road favorite closes it out. It's been blowouts. There's been 130-103 Suns over Clippers, 106-93 Lakers over Heat, 113-87 Cavs over Raptors in 2016 in the LeBronto year. Warriors closed in the finals in 2016. I'm sorry, in 2015. Yeah, not 16. 2015, they closed 105-97. That one was only 8, so that was a little bit closer, but the line was only 4. And then the Spurs clocked the Mavericks in 2002, 90-78. Our Tommy John ballsy parlay of this game is going to be an assist combo with OKC. Haliburton under 7.5, Siakam over 3.5 assists. So Haliburton can't pass, can't create, struggles, under 7.5. Siakam's actually going over this pretty consistently on the assist line. This is like pretty surprising to me that Siakam's been this much of a creator. But he's been gone over in 4 of the 5 games at on his assist prop line. So we're going to put that one in at over 3.5. Thunder money line. That one's now, we're going to lose some money on this because the Thunder money line's moved. And Jalen Williams over 4.5 assists because by God, we're going out with the official prop of the 2025 NBA playoffs for buckets. That's going to do it. Appreciate you guys being with us. Great crowd today. Appreciate your comments. My thanks to Bryan Fonseca and Sean Little for helping me out on short notice. We'll be back on Thursday, 6:30 Eastern with a live show. We do have some content coming for you from Brandon Anderson and Jim Turvey, big picture views, add some stuff about the league and where it's headed. Be on the lookout for that in the podcast feed. Make sure to give us a like, rate, review, subscribe, all those fun things. My thanks to David Payne for his help producing this episode. We'll see you guys again next time. Until then, let's get buckets.